Alrighty, I'm going to show you how you can use colored pencil to shade. And I'm going to use the sphere again because I have one here. I'm going to pick a few different colors too. Let's go ahead and do this with blue. And I'm also going to get, I have a darker blue in here, but I think what I'll do is I'll use black and white. Since you're newbies, if you want to know how to use colors to create depth and to create shadow, that's a more complicated thing, and I can definitely show you in class how to do that. But for now, I'm going to start off with just my one color here and then a black and a white pigment. So just like with pencil, I'm going to make sure I have an eraser nearby. Not everybody knows this, but you can erase colored pencil. And then I'm also going to have a paper towel nearby. I don't usually like to blend with paper towels when it comes to colored pencil, but it is possible. Now, when you are blending or when you're coloring with colored pencils, it's important to note that graphite, which remember is pencil shading, does not get along well with colored pencil. The two fight constantly. So you don't really want them to be sharing the same space. So if you have really dark pencil lines, or maybe you even have some shading already in that space, you want to make sure you lighten that up. Or if it's shading, you want to erase it entirely because it'll just mess up all of your coloring to have that pencil shading there. So my light is over here, so I want to make sure that I am leaving a little space of white. But with colored pencil, you really don't want to leave the white spaces, just the blank of the page. You will see that it oftentimes in artwork, when you go beyond pencil, when you go beyond like powdered colors, and that you generally want to fill in blank spaces. It looks neater. It also doesn't look like it was just kind of forgotten, like it was purposeful, intentional. So I went ahead and filled in everything with this light layer of this blue color. Now, just like with colored pencil, with a graphite pencil, I can go back in and I can put in another layer. Now, every material that you use, paint, pastel, charcoal, all of that stuff looks great with layers. So really knowing how to achieve those layers is going to be important for how your product turns out. So you can see already I'm starting to get more depth in it. Now, like I said, you can use a blender and you can kind of smooth out what you have here. But like I said, I also don't really usually use blenders like this. I'll show you another way of blending your colored pencil using pencil, which is going to be what we're using this white here for. I'm sure a lot of you were thinking, why do you need a white pencil on a white paper? Well, you'll see. So I want to have a nice transition. So I'm starting off first with using just my color, and I haven't, you may be wondering, when are you going to start putting in some different value? Well, like I said, layers are very important. I think now would be a good time to put in a nice light layer of some black. And this is going to be mainly in that core shadow. So that's going to be that shadow that runs right through the center of this sphere. And you can see how lightly and carefully I'm applying this. You do not want to be heavy-handed. A lot of people are very heavy-handed with their colored pencils from the start. And once again, if you are heavy-handed and you put too much pressure from the beginning, it makes it very difficult to correct your mistakes. And like I said, you can use an eraser to erase up any mistakes, but ideally, every time you use an eraser, you're damaging the paper. And ideally, you want to avoid having to use an eraser. So I'm just going to keep layering some of this black in here, keep building it up. I'm even going to put some black in the shadow here. And since I know the shadow is going to be fairly dark, I can put a teeny bit more pressure on it. This is a very soft, this is a Prismacolor pencil, so it's got a very soft core. You can get, Crayola pencils tend to have a little stronger cores. They're a little more rigid. But you can get Prismacolors also that have stronger cores. So once I have the black in there, I can still make this a blue ball here by making sure that I go back over top of it with this blue. And I can even apply a little more pressure, and that'll give me a lot more value on top of it. Now you can take this and go through and kind of smooth out what you've just done. You can also use a colored pencil to blend, which I'm going to show in just a minute. But you can see how much depth I'm getting every time I add a new layer. You can see just how much it changes that form. It makes that color more rich too. Okay, so I am liking so far what this dark area is looking like. I'm going to bring up a little bit more color into my lighter area. And then I'm going to show you what blending with a colored pencil does. So I have a white colored pencil here. Sometimes you have to be careful the white colored pencil has been used by somebody else for a different color. So you always want to check it and make sure it's clean before you use it. And then here, I can start to apply it. And I'm going to push with a lot more pressure in a circular pattern. And you'll see that it starts to almost melt with that other color. And it brightens it. Especially this blue is nice and bright. And I want to be careful not to get too close to my darker area, because if I get too close to my darker area with this, I might end up making a tonal change to my color. And I need just a little bit more of this in here so I can bring it up. And go back in, smooth it out. Starting to wear down the tips to where I need to sharpen my pencil. I'm putting more pressure on it. And that pressure is helping to take that color and mix it all together. So that I will end up with something that looks nice and smooth and transitions well. And I can keep going with it, but I think for the sake of time and this video, I'm going to make sure that I stop pretty quickly here. A slight reflection on the base here. And there we go. So I'm going to stop here, but you can see that we have a change in value, that we're getting a nice smooth change too. It could be smoother. Definitely with more time, I can make this look a lot more crispy. But for now, I'm going to end here, especially since my pencils are going to need sharpening in a minute here. So thanks for watching. I hope that this helps you understand how to use colored pencils and have fun creating.